GTA Online at the moment is in a relatively weird spot. With the release of the expanded and enhanced version of the game, not really much was added except for the fact that there's now an influx of new and potentially even returning players coming back to the game or trying it for the very first time. With the game being free for a couple of months on PlayStation 5, I'm sure there's definitely been a good few new people who are like, hey, what is GTA Online all about? A new version, I haven't played it for quite some time. Meanwhile, the long-term players, including myself, are really getting increasingly bored with the game and how infrequent the updates are that it's getting at this current moment in time. Rockstar is relatively quiet. When I say relatively quiet, I mean that they have not said anything whatsoever about what the future holds for the game itself. They keep going on about how this new power will allow them to do greater and bigger things, but we have yet to see anything of that, considering the fact that the PS5 and Xbox Series X versions are definitely an upgrade in terms of how the game feels and how the game plays, but overall it was relatively So now this brings us to this current moment in time. We're currently in June, which means that next month or a little bit at the beginning of August, we're potentially going to get our very first DLC on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. But there's a moment in time where we are now a little bit in a crossroads, where Rockstar kind of has the time now to prove why exactly we had to make that switch to next gen. Another new version of the game. Whether it was free or it was something that you had to pay $10 for on discount, the fact still remains that we had to download a new version of the game or even purchase it. So now it's up to Rockstar to show us why we had to do that with the next DLC. Sure, there's still going to be the issue, and some might even not consider this an issue, considering the fact that getting a next-gen console in this economy is definitely not something that's going to be on people's priority list, as well as the fact that there are still probably not that easy to come by, especially if you're not in one of the 3 countries that actually stocks them actively or doesn't have people that want those consoles. So the question of the older versions is still going to be there. What about PlayStation 4 and Xbox One? We all know that those older consoles, especially the base versions, are not going to have a very easy time with, anything at all, considering that we have seen what those versions of the games have been looking like for the past couple of years at this point. I know this because I've done frame tests on them, and well, as the lobbies become more and more populated, the frames become less and less existing, if you will. So this is where another crossroads is going to have to be taken by Rockstar. Are they going to leave old gen behind and just let all those millions of players who are on PS4 and Xbox One just behind and just be like, thanks for all the money, guys. Really appreciate you guys playing the game. But unfortunately, if you want more GTA Online, you're going to have to dish out money for an entire new console, as well as a couple extra bucks for yet another version of the game. From a business point of view, it doesn't really make much sense for Rockstar to ditch the old gen versions, for the simple reason that most people are still going to be on the old gen version. At least that's what I would personally assume, considering the fact that the largest player base is still going to be on there, because, you know, PS4 sold like 100 million units, whereas the PS5 is currently sitting on about 20 million, I believe. But obviously, this would all change if Rockstar were to make that decision of going to next gen only. This will make people think, hey, I want to play more GTA Online, and I can only do that on the next gen version. This would entice people to then start making a jump to the new version of the game, allowing Rockstar to just have justification of keep doing just that. Leaving old gen behind, though, is definitely something that is detrimental to the game as a whole. Obviously, they have made a similar type of move with the Ill-Gotten Gains Part 2, where that was effectively the very last update ever to hit the platform. After that, it was free roam updates, and hey presto, there we go. So they have done it before when the new consoles were still pretty young, and we're kind of in the same position. So I personally wouldn't be surprised if Rockstar were to pull that plug and be like, you know what, this is no longer feasible. The old gen versions of the game have gotten a heap of downloadable content, and it would actually make a little bit of sense for the game itself to be able to make that step. But again, from a business point of view and for those folks on old gen, this will be a very tough pill to swallow, considering the fact that having no new content added to a game that was already not getting a heap of new content will probably not do a whole lot. Obviously, having the game sometimes get a new game mode here and there probably won't have a heap of impact on the game, so maybe with smaller updates or maybe even a smaller version of the summer DLC will be something that will be viable and pretty much possible in my speculative ideas here. When it comes to PC, this is definitely a major question mark. If you know anything about PC and ever been on a PC platform, you know that as soon as you enter a public lobby, you will be greeted with either a heap of spam of certain derogatory words that I should not be repeating on YouTube before I get myself banned, or you will have your game crashed or some other bullshit happen to you in the video game. The PC version is worse than it ever has been, and I don't think anything will change unless Rockstar has decided to actually, well, fix it. But the chances of that happening, I don't really see being a thing. So what's the next best idea? A new version of the game, like we had with the PS5 and Xbox Series X versions. Recently there has been some maintenance on the PC version, so maybe that's kind of to prepare the PC version for getting a new version, maybe, just maybe. I don't know. Regardless, I just hope that if they are deciding to get a new version of the game, that they will fix all these issues, and, well, good luck trying to justify to those PC players why exactly they have to buy yet another version as well, considering the fact that the current version has been infested with modders and cheaters since 2015 when it came out, 7 years ago. So Rockstar is at a very interesting crossroads. The next DLC that is going to hit the next-gen console for the first time is going to have to kind of prove to us, like, yeah, this is what we can do with next-generation power. But the problem is that if they don't, a lot of people are going to be disappointing, kind of myself included. I'm hoping that with this new space and with this new platform, they will be allowing to do more in-depth and more interesting things than they couldn't have done on the old generation of consoles. Because again, when the game came out on PS5 and Xbox Series X, a few colors and a new car isn't exactly anything that screams, oh, we definitely needed a new console for this. So I'm interested to see what Rockstar is going to do. Perhaps they can finally expand the game and make it more ambitious than it previously was. Obviously, I have to be a little bit skeptical about this considering how old the game is, and it's probably still running on a very, very old engine that probably is not going to benefit from the next generation of consoles all that much, considering the fact that it's still running on effectively a 2013 engine with some updates here and there along the way, which, yeah, that might be a bit of a problem. Regardless, GTA 6 is still very far away. I live in pain every single day. Please Rockstar release it. I can no longer take it. If you feel the same way, like the video, subscribe for more. And if you really like what you see on the channel, make sure to become a member like Chloe and Robert. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all later.